I assume is still the same, or it's probably going to be a lot less like professional this time.
Yeah, probably.
We watched Blade Runner 2049 on Netflix together, which isn't.
It's not what you think. Yeah.
We basically, Chris is a film student.
Yes.
You've seen Blade Runner more times than I've breathed, I believe.
Yeah. Do you want me to explain the?
Do it again, yeah. Do it
Okay.
again.
We've already filmed this, so the shock value is not going to be there anymore.
We're not going to care as much.
Yeah. So I saw it twice in college. That was the.
Oh
final
wow!
cut. Yes.
Wait, really?
Wow.
You watched it twice at college?
Absolutely. Yeah.
That's the first I'm hearing it.
Then 10 times plus at home. This is going so well. Right, basically I've seen 4 out of the 5 cuts multiple times.
It's like saying I've watched the TV edit of Cars.
The film 4 edits where they take minutes off.
They take out like every scene with Mater, and it still makes sense. But yeah, the point is...
you could do the same if you took out Harrison Ford. There'd just be a lot less alcoholism.
I was thinking that if you take out Harrison Ford from Blade Runner, you've still got the same plot.
What, none?
Oh, okay. So today we are talking about the 2049th Blade Runner. Now, I have a serious question for you.
Yeah.
How do you think they made that many and still didn't get a profit from it?
Willis is sick, so he's not going to be at 100% functional
I'm
today.
enjoying this. Feels like one of Jake's videos now.
Oh,
Yeah, so
just with less alcohol.
for some reason they decided to skip straight to 2049.
Well, because of the blackout, apparently.
Are you alright?
I just remember some elements of the plot that went in the film, but we're in short films.
Oh my god. Okay, so basically, when we first recorded this, we talked a lot about the original because there was nothing to talk about with
and
new one.
obviously I studied the original way too much.
Yeah. Which means that Chris has already got another 15 video essays planned about Blade Runner to be released.
Technically they're already written, so yeah, I could.
So I thought this time, since we are re-recording this, which I don't think we've mentioned yet.
We cut straight to the mustard.
Well, basically, I'll go through a bit of the development.
Yeah.
Development started back in 1983 when the first Blade Runner made no money, and they basically took them. How long has it taken them? 15 years? 25 years? 25. Okay.
We can't do maths.
In 2011, development started with Ridley Scott rumoured to return, or Christopher Nolan was their secondary choice.
Not in 83 though. He was a bit too young then.
Was he alive back then? How old is Christopher Nolan? I don't care.
Look at his hairline. It's old.
Okay. Development started back in 2011 when they secured the rights to make, get this, not only sequels but prequels.
So they Star Wars.
They wanted to make not only prequels but sequels. They wanted to make both. They wanted to make Blade Runner like a proper Star Wars kind of franchise.
It's like one of the things that couldn't be a franchise.
Can you imagine getting a Blade Runner movie every year?
And then getting the toys and the lunch boxes.
And it being
like the bed covers.
And the quality just completely dropping to like Saw 7 levels. Oh god, they made an 8th. So.
But then you'd get Jigsaw out of that as well, so you'd get like a really hard rated like origin story.
Okay,
like,
never mind Blade Runner. Did you just say, do you like Jigsaw?
No,
Saw 8?
I thought you did, so I brought it up.
I do.
So why are you asking me?
I'm qualified to talk about Blade Runner 2049. I'd like to first off say that so I'm going to completely obscure your shot here. Both my parents fell asleep when we went to see this movie.
Didn't you formally apologise as well?
I did, about 2/3 through the movie. In fact, it was the furnace bit when my dad was asleep and then woke up and just went, I'm so sorry, I didn't think it would be like this.
What did you think it was going to be like?
Do you know, it's one of those things...
Please don't say good. Please don't say
I really liked the first Blade Runner when I saw it. And I was like, really... I don't know. You know when there's those movies where you're just like, this is going to be so niche and I'm going to love it. And I'm going to talk about this all day because it's going to be so arty and cool. And it was arty.
But there's no substance
but in like a
Mr.
Mr. Maker kind of way. I felt like I am a shape. Honestly, when I came out of that cinema, I felt like I wasn't smart enough.
A circle.
It felt like the complete opposite of a Zack Snyder movie.
Oh, so I was literally just about to say, so it's like Ben Affleck after he saw BVS.
Yeah, when he's like, there was a few things that were a little bit too smart for me. But I was thinking in terms of plot as well. Zack Snyder, sort of, I don't know where I'm going with any of this. It's going great. So, despite the movie making no money, it made no money.
You make no money.
It did actually win 2. I have a Patreon, by the way. I have a Patreon.
That was a plug, yeah.
That was a plug and a half. I have a Patreon, and I have 41 subscribers. Please.
Please use.
No, sorry. I want to talk about the movie.
Yeah.
So it was nominated for 5 Academy Awards, and it won 2 of them. And that's your fun fact of the week. It won cinematography and visual effects, which I don't understand, because I'm pretty sure Ryan Gosling was a practical effect.
No, Harrison Ford was. He was
Harrison Ford
to be
was
there.
like 100% of the visual effects. His were in like 3 years' time. They reveal that Harrison Ford was not here.
Do you know the practical version of Wreck, like the monster in Wreck?
Oh,
Do you
okay.
think they've just got that
Oh my
husk
God.
out to
We've
use
just
for
brought
Harrison
up
Ford?
a Spanish horror film. That's how artsy we are. It's a film student. I'm with a film student who watched Blade
But
Runner
you showed me that film
2004.
on YouTube for free.
Yeah, if anyone wants to, I definitely recommend the movie Wreck. It's a Spanish film from 2007.
Do
It's
we
completely
recommend
free.
2049?
Oh, we're not there yet. We've got to talk about how great this film is.
Yes, let's do it.
Okay. Oh, that was actually quite a good segue into like
Yeah.
something good. Right.
Yeah.
So, what do you what do you like about Blade Runner 2049?
First off, I want to say you can tell he doesn't like it. Anyway, right, so what
Do
do
you
I
think I don't like Blade Runner 2049? I don't like it. I'm gonna get some
even though we made a Punisher thing that was set in the style of 2049 that's not seen by the public, but in a playlist you can go find
If you look at my demo reel, there is 2 shots from a Blade Runner inspired video we did.
it. Basically,
The-
Stall
right.
Orange.
Once I finished watching the movie, I basically said that was so easy to make, we could do it, and we basically did it.
Yeah.
Mock up of,
But
and
we
it was
did
fine.
it in action scenes. There's more action. And
There was more action in our
speaking
short.
of actually, when action's actually implemented in 2049, it's incredible. Do you know when he gets on the junk planet and just swarms them there?
Yes. Oh yes.
Like
Definitely.
when it's there, but it's also filmed really well. Like you can see everything there because it's clean. It's filmed how the actual film's clean, like filmed. So
You know how like with the original,
yeah,
it feels like there are stakes. I don't know. It feels like he's kind of rushing about and doing stuff.
does it though?
I don't know. To be honest, I don't think I've seen the movie. I have seen the movie. I've seen it twice.
There's no stakes when it comes to Deckard. There's stakes when it comes
Yeah.
to Roy. Like I feel like Roy is kind of like the thing is, this is no detriment to actually the original Blade Runner.
Yeah.
But the replicants are more human than the human, and that's the point. That's like the whole. Kind of,
You just mixed in a good quote from the film. More human than human. That's good. That's good. That's staying in.
But
You just completely lost it.
you son of a bitch. I was going to do some film student points, and you just come out.
Well, I'd like to say that if I was gonna,
Is this the first time that I'm more on track than you are?
honestly, I've gave up after that first take, and I think it's actually turning out better. I think this is gonna be a much better video now. We're already at 10 minutes, you know.
Well,
So anyway, I was gonna make a very serious point. It's that if I was gonna sum up this movie, it would be Deckard eating noodles. And what I mean by that is Deckard eating noodles, if it was made in 2049,
well,
would have been-
2049 is about hot single mums in your area because joy. Do you know what I mean? Do you know after she's been?
I'm sure.
Do you know after she's been brutally murdered and he just sees her on a billboard and he's just like, "There's me wife 2.0."
Yeah, don't go and see this movie with your parents, kids. And don't be a kid and see it.
There's a. So I'm.
It's a really weird age demographic where I feel like this is aimed at 40-year-olds.
But like, it's strange.
40-year-old Frenchmen.
Blade Runner had a similar thing where it's like the romantic scenes were awkward and uncomfortable.
Do you love me? But did she even say yes?
No, right, so he's like, "Tell me you love me," and then she's like, "I love you. I want you to put my hands all over me," something like that, and then it just turns into rape. They filmed multiple versions of that scene, some more loving, some more rapey, and I've had to watch them all.
I'd like to just say that Harrison Ford's a great actor.
I don't think that was acting. I think that was real. Well, did you hear that she cried literally after every take?
Oh my god. I know that they didn't really get along, but I don't know if it was like serious or not. It's not like Shelley Duvall levels.
It's not like Nathan Fillion and the actress in Castle, where he literally bullied the lass all the way through, and they did multiple seasons.
Imagine being like, we've been renewed for season 10, and she's just like battered and bruised.
And she's literally just like coming and just beating us. Like,
she looks like Pompeii.
I don't know if it was bad as that, but she described it as that.
Sorry,
I love Nathan Fillion. Please, if he ever sees this, I know he won't, but if he sees this,
I hope he's in something good soon.
Suicide Squad.
Oh my god!
Actually, he's in a TV show called The Rookie.
No, we can't talk about that.
Yeah, we need to talk about Blade Runner. Nathan Fillion is the new Blade Runner.
Oh my god, that would have been great. Because Ryan Gosling, getting onto our main cast, he's probably earned the easiest paycheck of his life.
Yeah.
There's a Red Letter Media video.
The thing is, though, not talking a lot doesn't mean it's easy. So, like The Drive, he doesn't talk a lot on that, but that is a hard role to do. Whereas with this, it's kind of like, do you know how Decade and what's his fucking name? K? Is it K?
Joe. He's just your average Joe.
That is so stupid.
His name's Officer K, yeah, but he's called Joe by...
That is something I'd put in a script, do you know what I mean?
It's done really well, you see, because when the billboard talks to him, the billboard says, "Hey, Joe," and it's like,
"No, that's not my name."
And he realises that he's not actually as special as he thought he was. And that's the whole theme of the movie, is basically you're not special. I actually think it is.
It probably could be.
That's unironically what I think the theme of the movie is.
But you know how Decade and...
It's got something to say about the box office.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
But you know how Decade and, like, they're both kind of, like, very hard men, but, like, without personality. Like, that's kind of their stereotype. But then when you're supposed to get, like, deeper in their levels, they're kind of, like, a lot more emotional and, like, distraught, kind of.
Yeah, I like how you've just said they're both the same, and you've got to remember one of them's a replicant and one of them is Harrison Ford.
Exactly.
Right, but yeah, that says
what
quite
I'm trying
a bit.
to say is that Harrison Ford pulls it off in that film.
Yes.
I'd argue he pulls it off.
I get the idea he's just a depressed guy who's fed up with his job.
Well, you can tell because he's an alcoholic in the film, isn't he?
Yeah.
And then he's an alcoholic in real life by 2049.
Oh my god, right, we need to talk about the amount of alcohol he has in Vegas.
But also the amount of alcohol jokes we made while watching the film.
Yeah, we made a lot of jokes at the expense of Harrison Ford. I think the entire last half an hour of the film was just us going, "Where's the beer?" That's my job. Blade Runner.
Our canon story is that he wasn't finding his daughter, he was finding the next bar to go to.
Yeah, he was trying to find alcohol the whole time. He succeeded though, because
he did.
He found a dead body outside the steps of where he found. Did Joe just decide to die?
What did Roy just decide? No, he didn't. He had
he had to keep the blood going, didn't he?
That was nuts because he had to keep. He was an emo kid.
And now we're demonetised. And now, only now, after mentioning French people, and I made a Pompeii joke earlier.
I wasn't listening about.
I know. Trust me, I was tearing up for a good 30 seconds after, so they're going to see that. And have we offended anyone else yet?
Emos.
Matthew. We've offended Matthew incredibly. Did we even mention Matthew in this take? I can't even remember.
I don't think so. Basically, Matthew's a very close friend of ours, the Ginger Gamer guy. Well, that was his old name. But he's a massive fan of the original Blade Runner.
And he likes this one as well. He thought this was pretty.
I thought that was a
dank.
surprise because a lot the massive consensus with this film was that obviously people just thought this was like a copycat, kind of like The Force Awakens. But you were saying not as much in our earlier take, but like. If it was like slow for being slow, and it was artsy just for the sake of being artsy, it was pretentious. It was this and that, and people were just like, I cannot be bothered.
That is literally my whole thoughts with this and this review. Actually, is that I can't be bothered. I was watching the movie.
That first take took it out of you, didn't it?
I was watching it. It's done a world of good. I watched the movie, and there's a bit where you just go like, okay, I'm all up for writing a good English essay on like a movie, but there reaches a point when like you just go, oh, there's too much. I get it.
With 2049, there's so much and there's so little to not just talk about, but like to understand. It's like the visuals, it's complex. There's layers to it, but at the same time, it's just this looks pretty.
I feel like if it had like a really, really intense plot, like with a lot going on, there'd be way too much. So
It'd
maybe
be
that's
too
what
much
they
to
were
take in.
thinking.
It's like, imagine if they had the full-on rebellion from the start and all that crap.
Right,
Like, you'd
that
have...
rebellion is in one scene, and then it's completely, like...
And for some reason, the whole...
It doesn't follow a typical, like, structure of, like, the villain gets beat. The villain does not get beat. What's his name? Jared Leto.
But no, this isn't really a Hollywood film, that's the thing, so it doesn't follow the Hollywood structure.
It hurts, honestly.
This is the man who watches too much Hollywood, that's why.
You think I watch too much Hollywood?
Well,
We watched a Spanish horror film.
They got copied
We
by
like movies,
Hollywood.
by the way. Yeah, we watched Quarantine with
Imagine
subtitles
it.
on.
Alternate universe, Willis likes movies instead of Willis makes movies.
Yeah, I make them because I don't like them. There you go. That's a better story.
There are people out there like that, man.
Do you think if we watched Quarantine with Spanish subtitles, that would make it wreck?
Can that be like a quote on a t-shirt for you?
I'm actually going to get that on a t-shirt.
That would be incredible.
And no one's going to know what it means.
Instead of...
And underneath, I'm going to have the practical effect of the creature just like, oh.
So Harrison Ford.
That's my job. Blazer. I love the narration after Roy dies, and he just goes like, maybe it was him thinking he was human. Maybe it was
bloody
me.
voiceovers in the theatrical cut, all because the bloody producers were like, we need it to make sense.
I think Blade Runner 24,009
needed a voiceover.
I think it actually made a lot of sense in the way that I was following what was happening because I wasn't paying attention, and yet I was still.
It's one of those films you could watch without audio,
I fully intend to.
But if you watch it with audio, you will be deafened by the soundtrack.
There must be a version where it's just the sound. You know, some movies do that. It's the isolated score.
Yeah.
I know the Alien cut I have does that. They should do that for this movie.
But do you want to be deafened by the soundtrack more and more because of the?
That's all it is. Is it?
Sounds don't make music. Is not a song. It is not a soundtrack just to go. And it doesn't fit the vibe of 2049. So it's
okay.
So you've got like this futuristic foreground set in like a retrofitted background, but there's a lot of focus on said background. So then the music is like this cyberpunk dubstep bass heavy, just Christopher Nolan blah sound, and it's like you're supposed to get an emotion out of that. What emotion do you get from the music in 2049 other than just like bass line?
So we've had a little talk off screen there.
Yeah.
Because the final question we have to ask is, would we recommend this movie? And who would we recommend it to? And it's a really difficult question because we've just literally spent 20 minutes talking about it.
I mean, I can start off because I've had a solid idea.
Yeah, go ahead, because I'm still thinking about this.
If we're talking in terms of filmmakers, the people I'd recommend this to are script writers and cinematographers are aspiring. The script writers is for what not to do, in the similar sense of the prequels, as in you do need a plot and you do need a script, even if it's going to be a light script. You need something thought-provoking in terms of language, because the script is very weak in terms of the things that... It's solid in terms of what they do say, but they don't say enough. And there's not enough there for me to attach to the characters. Like, I don't feel anything for Kay at any point. When his girlfriend dies, I don't care. And it's not because she's an AI, it's not because she's a hologram, it's because I didn't get the... Saying that though, I did like the scenes, when he's like, when they're talking about each other's day and stuff like that, I did like... I kind of... That's the only point there where I think that could have worked. Maybe if they expanded upon that.
Well, like a replicant falling in love with a robot.
Well, like a hologram.
If that was the movie.
Mm-hmm. But then I'd also recommend it to cinematographers for the main sense of there's elements in it that you should definitely follow, like scene tracking, like layers of shots. But then there's also elements that you shouldn't follow, like all orange, like basically cut out all of Vegas, That's not how you should do it. They did the water element fine, do you know, when they're kind of sinking.
Like the water bit.
Do you know when the car's flooding, they're having like a fight outside?
Oh,
and
yeah, the seawall at the end.
And they told them it was vodka and it wasn't.
Oh my god, yeah, so that was our theory. That was our theory.
That's the only reason why they got him in the car.
Harrison Ford, the only reason that he was allowed to put in handcuffs a man of his age, he's an old-ass man, was because they told him the water was vodka.
And the reason...
Harrison Ford just wanted to die,
I was telling you about how they did the set for that, though, because obviously I watched the tested video.
Yeah.
It is god-awfully huge just to get, like, the water effects all right. All that vodka, yeah.
Just to keep Harrison Ford
all
quenched.
of Dan Aykroyd's Crystal Skull vodka.
Oh my god, Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
Oh my god.
Was about Harrison Ford trying to get Dan Aykroyd's Crystal Skull vodka
100%.
so that he could drink himself to death because he's an old man and he just, give me the money! He wants the money. He just wants to die. I think he wants to die. Jake Anderson is also a man who wants to die, by the way.
We're cutting back to Blade Runner. We need to get this done. So...
Okay.
I wouldn't recommend this to the average person, like the person who just like a casual film watcher, like a passive film watcher.
A dirty 40-year-old man who loved the original. Would you recommend it to people who like the original?
Yes.
Would you recommend it to people who didn't like the original?
No.
Oh.
Not at all.
Okay.
Mainly because this is a weaker aspect of the original, so why would you want to watch a weaker aspect of the original if you didn't like the original?
That's a good way of summing it up. It's a weaker aspect of the original.
The only thing that I'd say does it better is probably... I mean, the audio is better in terms of quality, because obviously the 80s, the audio quality wasn't as strong as it is now.
There was a lack of narration.
Yeah.
It hurt on multiple levels not to hear Harrison Ford. Imagine if, when Ryan Gosling showed up, we just heard narration, and like it got louder as he got closer to him.
The best thing about that narration... is that you hear Harrison Ford say the N-word.
Oh god, he does, doesn't he?
He does. When he's on about the police captain, he says, that's the type of guy who would call it. I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say the N-word.
We've now officially reached every demographic to hate us.
Yeah,
I think... Excellent.
Thank you for having me.
Well, okay, to give my recommendation. It's a very difficult thing to question because this movie is very slow. It's
lackluster.
It's thought-provoking in the sense that you need to go looking for the questions. They're not sort of presented to you.
I kind of brought up the idea that it is literally the film equivalent of Blue Balls. It wants to give you these questions, but it's not the fact that there's no answers. It's when you start thinking about those questions, the film doesn't develop on them, that there's nothing there to kind of like grab at.
Yeah.
So they ask, what would happen if there was a replicant revolution? What would happen if a replicant could have a baby with a regular human? But then you start thinking about, they don't go in depth with it, so why should you?
Yeah, I mean, it's very strange because it feels like it seems to be setting up a sequel.
That will never come.
Yeah, it also seems that the last half an hour is like immensely faster paced than the rest of it.
I know they didn't, but it did feel like producers got a hold of it and was just like...
I don't know.
Did they get a hold of it? I feel like they didn't, but...
I think there was...
I felt like he was in two separate minds when making the ending of that film.
I think when it comes to movies, they don't need like action to be good because obviously there are dramas.
Exactly.
There are romantic comedies and all that shit.
Yeah.
But a movie like this needed more happening.
It's a police mystery film. Of course, at some point there needs to be an action set piece or something.
There needs to be something because...
It's not even that they need action. There needs a main plot. There is nothing in this worthy of a main plot. Everything that was a main plot in this film was side plots in the original Blade Runner.
I mean, to sum it up, the film is about a guy going on a discovery while a load of people watch him, waiting until he discovers something, and then when he does, they capture him.
Yeah.
That's, like, boring up until the end, when they find him and catch him. It feels like that's, like, something that would happen in a 10-minute space of a movie.
Yes.
But it's now dragged out to a movie that is 2 hours and 43 minutes, which is way too much. And I think it just fills that time with little ideas instead of focusing just on... It reminds me of a film like Trainspotting 2.
Okay.
It was a film that was made 20 years after the original, goes in a completely different direction.
And it feels extremely different.
And it's like clean.
Yeah.
It's like got freeze frames and everything, and it's about people being old.
But that does fit with the film. I don't think this does.
I think this is the opposite.
Yes.
This is the opposite of a Trainspotting 2, where it's like... And they came out the same year.
Oh.
Where... I think Trainspotting 2 is brilliant. I think it's underrated, but... The Blade Runner film, the first one... I don't know. I don't think it needed a follow-up.
As I said, Blade Runner doesn't need to be a franchise. It was fine with one.
Yeah.
Obviously, you could expand upon it. You could. It doesn't mean you should. It's one of those things.
I feel like they had... Almost they had too many ideas and didn't want to focus on just one of them.
Yeah.
And keep it going. So I wouldn't recommend it to people who like the original, because I feel like it takes the original and makes it almost like... It's not an individual anymore. Yeah. It's like the original films, it's nice own little package.
Yeah.
And then it's like, okay, now we've added this thing which is like an art film. It's like someone came along and just thought, I can do Blade Runner.
The problem is with Blade Runner 2049, it's a film that is trying to be art house and it's trying to be in a Hollywood environment, but it fails on both fronts.
Yeah.
So what is it truly? It's just content, it's just produce, it's...
okay, I think that's a good place to end it. Okay, so we'll wrap this up. Where can we find you?
You can find me on Maddog Studios, and then the next coming few months there is a new channel that's probably going to be the new main channel as well. I mean, you can also find me here. I work here an awful lot too. Probably
you do, yeah. You're on a lot of our productions.
Yeah, so I work here a lot. But there is going to be a new main channel for me coming soon. It'd be bloody hilarious if it doesn't ever happen, and I've just said this. It's good.
Well, I hope it happens.
Oh, me too. You're helping me with it, so.
Well, yeah, obviously you're on the Willis Makes Movies channel.
Yes.
This is me, obviously, right here. And I'm working on some video essays. We've got a podcast in the works. Where
Definitely.
This is sort of a practice for it, really.
I think you can tell by the setup.
Yeah, we've tried to mimic the podcast kind
Obviously,
of
we're going to work out a few kinks. Not that type of kinks. Don't get your head in the gutter.
Well, I might as well reveal it now. We're working on a podcast that is for film, news, reviews, that kind of thing. It'll be between an hour and a half long. We're still working out how much of it should be filmed and how much of it should be just audio. We're going to have guests on it, our friends who like particular movies.
And maybe some who don't, just to break it up a bit.
Some people who don't know anything.
Yeah, literally.
And it's going to be interesting. But for now, yes, please let us know your thoughts on Blade Runner, the 2049th
edition.
And tell us, what would you have done differently if you were going to make it?
Oh, that's a good question.